إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. All praise for Allah. We praise Him, we thank Him, we ask Him for His help and we ask Him for His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah Ta'ala from the evil of ourselves and the evil of our actions. Whoever is guided by Allah, then no one can misguide them, and whoever is misguided, then no one can guide them except for Allah Ta'ala. I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is his final messenger. Amma ba'd. First of all, my dearest sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's always a pleasure to see your beautiful faces, alhamdulillah. May Allah protect you all and elevate you in status and forgive you for your sins, Ya Rabb. Okay, so the topic that I've chosen to speak about today is, what is known to many as a journey of a lifetime. And, it's a journey that if a person does it sincerely for the sake of Allah Ta'ala, they'll have all of their previous sins forgiven. Alright, so this, obviously this journey I'm speaking about is the journey to Baytullah, like to do Hajj for the sake of Allah Ta'ala. And I feel it's a very important topic to speak about. Like often we don't go to lessons that speak about Al-Hajj unless we actually already made a decision to go to Hajj, then we attend the seminar. But actually we should all be going to lessons about Hajj, because even if we're not going to Hajj this year, we should have the intention to be going as soon as possible, especially if we've never gone before, right? If we haven't done Hajj yet, then the least we can do is have the strong intention in our heart that we long to go as soon as we're able, as soon as we've got the ability to go, then we've got that intention that we want to go. It's like a life goal that we must achieve, right? So I want to speak first of all a little bit about the importance of Al-Hajj, just so we can understand the gravity of this huge pillar that Allah Ta'ala has obligated upon us. So first of all, if we look at what Allah Ta'ala mentions in Surah Ali Imran, He says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا ومن كفر فإن الله غني عن العالمين. So Allah Ta'ala says, and upon people is to do Hajj to His house for those who are able, like whoever is able, that it's upon them to go for Hajj. وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ. And whoever disbelieves, then Allah is free of being in need from al-alameen, from all of the worlds, right? So Allah Ta'ala is not in need for anyone. Like if they turn away from what Allah has commanded them, then Allah is not in need for them. He's not in need for their obedience, okay? And their disobedience does not harm Him in the least. So they're only harming themselves by turning away from His commands, right? So from the tafsir of this ayah, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he says, whoever rejects or denies the obligation of Hajj, then Allah is not in need of that person. So, obviously, as well, if somebody claims that Hajj is not fard, then this, is a person who is, if they did that, having the understanding, they're not like a revert who had an excuse. But if they, rejected or denied that Hajj is an obligation, then this is, considered to be a disbeliever by consensus of the Muslims, because it's a well-known right, and it's from the Arkan al-Islam. It's from the 5 pillars of Islam. So nobody could reject it unless they're either a disbeliever or someone who's got complete ignorance that doesn't know yet what are the commands of al-Islam. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he also told us in an authentic hadith narrated by Ibn Umar, it's narrated in Al-Bukhari and Muslim, that Buniya al-Islamu ala khams. that verily Islam was built upon 5 pillars. So a person's Islam is built upon 5 pillars. Shahadati an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah. That the shahada, the testimony of la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. Muhammad Rasulullah. He is the messenger of Allah. Wa iqamis salati wa ita'iz zakah, and to perform the prayers and set up the prayers and to give the zakat, to pay the zakat. Wa hajjil bayt, right, to do hajj to the bayt of Allah, and wa sawmi Ramadan, and to fast the month of Ramadan. These are the 5 pillars of al-Islam. So and it's also narrated in authentic chain to Umar ibn al-Khattab. He said that whoever can afford Hajj but does not perform it, there's no difference in his case if he died while a Jew or a Christian, subhanAllah. So we should be scared, we should be scared from, neglecting this huge right of al-Islam. Like when I say right, I mean R-I-T-E. We should be scared from neglecting it and being complacent. Like some people, may Allah protect us, like they've got the money, they've got the means, but they're not bothered about going to Hajj. They just go traveling to this country, traveling to that country, and they haven't done their fard Hajj yet. All right, and as we'll come to see, Hajj is only fard on you once in a lifetime, but it's definitely recommended to go more than that, not just to leave it as once, because how do you know that one time you went, maybe that wasn't accepted? Allahu Alam, maybe you didn't get the Hajj al-Mabrur, right? So that's why you want to keep going, because you never know which Hajj is going to be like the one that purifies you. And anyway, even in between each Hajj, we do lots of sins again, and we're in need for more purification, aren't we? So that's why we shouldn't, like if we're able to go more than once, we try to go again. But the point is that everyone should be concerned at least in fulfilling their first Hajj. At least you've done that, Okay, so just in relation to delaying Hajj, so the scholars, differed in this, whether it needs to be done straight away or whether you can delay it. There are a lot of scholars that are of the view that, as long as a person has the money and the means, and the ability to go to Hajj, then it should be performed straight away and not delayed. And, there's a hadith narrated recorded in Imam Ahmad. It's a Hassan chain, that the Prophet ﷺ, he actually said, hasten to do Hajj, hasten, hurry up and go for Hajj, because none of you knows what will happen to him. And when you think about it logically, regardless of the difference of opinion amongst the scholars, whether we should go straight away as soon as we have the means, or whether, it's allowed to delay it a little bit. Of course, if you have excuses, like sometimes you have life excuses, like you've got small children, for example, there's no one to leave them with. You know what I mean? There's reasons why you can't go straight away. That's understandable. Like if there's genuinely no one and it's difficult, for you to leave them for that amount of time, sometimes, unfortunately you have to delay certain things, or, you have to delay going for Hajj due to that reason. But the point is that really the best advice to anyone is, as soon as that window of opportunity opens up, just grab it, because you never know what's going to happen after that. Because the fact is that, we might be healthy and strong this year, but we don't know how, we could find ourselves, may Allah protect us all and give us strength, that we're not in that situation next year. We don't know, we might have enough money this year, but then subhanAllah, the next year comes, we don't have the money. Same thing, you might have the mahram now, but you don't have the mahram after. You understand? So thinking to delay without a reason it's not a good choice. It's not a wise choice. And most people, if you speak to them, there are some people, mashallah, they have, they're blessed to be able to go every year or every second year, but the majority of people, that's not the case. Most people, it's like that window of opportunity opens up, and if you miss it, it's like, subhanAllah, sometimes you have to wait. Look, like even myself, subhanAllah, like the window of opportunity opened up for me many years ago. I just grabbed it, and then I found myself 25 years, I didn't even get to go even for Umrah from Australia, because of my situation, raising children and not having anyone to leave them with, subhanAllah. So, and that happens to most people. Most people are in that situation. And even we can see the financial, financially it's very difficult. SubhanAllah, it's not easy for majority of people to go for Hajj. You know, so if Allah Ta'ala opens up the ability to go, you just got to grab it, because you just don't guarantee what's going to happen next. Okay, so that's the first thing, that, you know, once you have that chance, don't delay. Go try to, you know, make, and if you have the intention anyway, if you have the intention, inshallah, Allah Ta'ala will open up the means. He'll open up the door. But you've got to, that's why I'm saying to you today, that's why I decided to talk about this. This class should not be only for people going to Hajj. It should be for every Muslim, because even if you're not going, you should have the strong intention that you want to go, because trust me, when you have the strong intention to go, Allah will open the door for you. He will open the door for you to go, inshallah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So that's the thing we have to understand, like I said before, is that Hajj is only obligatory once in a lifetime. And this we know from a narration, in which it's a narration recorded by Imam Ahmad, related by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "O people, Allah has enjoined, O people, Hajj has been enjoined upon you, therefore perform Hajj." So then a man asked, "Ya Rasulullah, is it every year? Do we have to go every year?" So the Prophet ﷺ remained silent until the man repeated it 3 times. In fact, the Messenger of Allah got angry, because if it was every year, the Messenger of Allah would have said every year. And then the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Had I said yes, it would have become an obligation upon you, and you would not have been able to do it." Imagine if Hajj was every year. How on earth would we have got the money every year? How would we? It's very difficult, you know. SubhanAllah, you have to put a lot of things on hold to be able to go to Hajj, as you know, like work, you know, lots of things. Imagine if Hajj had been every single year. SubhanAllah, nobody would have been able to do it. So most people would not be able to do it. So the fact is that from this hadith, we know that Hajj is not obligatory except once. But as for whether it's, you know, it's very mustahab, like it's very highly, you know, recommended to keep going for Hajj. Don't just leave it at once and that's it. And that's why the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, follow up one Hajj or Umrah with another. Like, keep going for Hajj, keep going for Umrah, for verily they eliminate poverty and sins. Like, they eliminate and you know, purify from poverty and sins, just like the fire purifies the iron, the gold, and the silver. So that's what Hajj and Umrah are doing. They're constantly purifying you from your sins, subhanAllah, and refining you. And then he says, وَالْحَجُّ الْمَبْرُورُ لَيْسَ لَهُ جَزَاء إِلَّا الْجَنَّةِ. That the accepted Hajj doesn't bring any reward for it except al-Jannah. Like, the Jannah is your ultimate reward for the one who achieves al-Hajj al-Mabrur. So that's the first thing. Hajj is obligatory once in a lifetime. However, it's mustahab to keep on trying to follow it up. Don't just leave it at once. The second point here is a hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said in a hadith sahih narrated and recorded by Ibn Hibban, that Allah has said, if a servant of mine whom I have given their body good health, like if there's a servant of mine whom I've given them their body good health and plenty of rizq, and he does not visit me once every 5 years, then he is indeed deprived. So subhanAllah, in this hadith, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's showing us that if you're a person of affluence, like you have a healthy body and you have plenty of money to splash around, then one of your main aims should be continuing to go for Hajj and Umrah at least every 5 years, because you have the means. Because that's part of having shukr to Allah. It's part of having gratefulness, and spending your money in the path of Allah Ta'ala in the way that He's pleased with. The third point that I want to mention here, which is important for us in particular as women, is that from the virtues of Hajj, subhanAllah, is that Hajj is a jihad of women. The Prophet ﷺ said, Jihadu kunna al-Hajj. Your jihad is Hajj. That's why, every woman, like we as women, we love virtues just as men love virtues. But how do we reach those high virtues? By following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and he tells us that your jihad as women is Hajj, because obviously physically for a woman, it's, women are different. We've got different physiological makeup than men. Yes, women are strong in their own unique way, and men are strong in their own unique way. But when it comes to certain physical strengths, which is what is required for Hajj, you'll find in general men are stronger in this type of, the physical endurance of, bearing, the hardship of the amount of time, the amount you have to walk, all the things you have to bear in Hajj. Where, like, women definitely internally are much stronger than men, no doubt. Okay, with giving birth to babies, like a man could not bear that, subhanAllah. So Allah Ta'ala has blessed us all in different ways, right? So we see how Aisha radiallahu anha, she asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, do women engage in jihad? And so he told her the jihad in which there is no fighting, al-Hajj wal-Umrah. Like, so your jihad as women is al-Hajj and Umrah. So you have to realize the status of this deed that you're going to perform if you're going for al-Hajj and Umrah. It's not something small, it's a huge deed before Allah Ta'ala, especially for you as a woman. The next point is in a hadith narrated in al-Bukhari and Muslim, narrated by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that whoever performs Hajj, man hajja falam yarfuth walam yafsuq raja'a min dhunubihi kayawmi walidatu ummi. That whoever goes for Hajj, performs Hajj, wala yarfuth, does not utter, obscenities, and does not commit sins, will come back like the day his mother gave birth to him, like pure, like in other words, pure in a state of purification, like the day his mother gave birth to him, subhanAllah. So this is from a huge rahmah and generosity of Allah that, you might have done a lot of things in your life you regret, and you just want to get purified. Hajj is your door to that purification. And we're so blessed in Islam to have all these different ways that we can purify ourselves and seek redemption. You want to, that word redemption. Seek redemption and renew ourselves. We don't have to be stuck in our past and feel, some people subhanAllah feel dirty from their sins and things like that. But to know that you've got that hope, and Hajj is one of the huge doors of seeking that hope and seeking that renewal and, and completely purifying yourself and leaving your past completely behind. Okay, so we need to realize that this is the reward for the person who performs al-Hajj sincerely for the sake of Allah in the way that Allah loves and is pleased with. But we also need to realize that not everybody who just goes to Hajj gets this reward. So it's very important for us to talk about how we can actually achieve this reward. How can we get the al-Hajj al-Mabrur? Like, this is a precious reward, so we shouldn't think it's going to come just easily. All right, it's going to take a lot of efforts from our behalf, on our behalf, to achieve this reward. And in fact, that's why it's related that one time a man said to Ibn Umar, he was saying to Ibn Umar, look at how many Hujjaj, look at the scene of the Hujjaj, look how many. And Ibn Umar said to him, rather how few. And he said, rather say how many riders. Yes, there's a lot of people here, but that doesn't mean they're all Hujjaj, not the true Hujjaj that are actually seeking the Hajj al-Mabrur. Like, not everybody even goes there unfortunately, they don't all go there for the intention purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but besides that, there are people who don't take it seriously enough and they're doing a lot of wrong things, and I'm going to talk about that now. So if we want to get the Hajj al-Mabrur, then there are certain things we need to pay particular attention to. So number one, a person should purify their intention. First of all, obviously the first step, as the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he tells us, innamal a'malu binniyat, that all actions are by their intentions. So a person should purify their intention and make the reason they're going for Hajj purely for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, because Allah Ta'ala does not accept any deed in which a person associates others alongside him. And that's why we see that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to say a dua when he'd go for Hajj, Allahumma hajjatan la riya'a fiha wa la sum'a. Oh Allah, I ask you for a Hajj in which there's no riya, there's no showing off in it, and no sum'a, no seeking a reputation, no seeking, reputation through it. Because a lot of people, subhanAllah, when they go to Hajj, unfortunately in a lot of cultures even, you'll see it's something like, how can I say, it's just like a status symbol. And often, when they've gone, they get called Hajji, and now they get special treatment because they've gone to Hajj. What have you done? You've only done your fifth pillar. Like alhamdulillah, you've gone, but it doesn't mean that now you're special and everyone has to treat you special now because you've done your Hajj. You know what I'm trying to say? So some people, subhanAllah, that unfortunately their intention is more about, like they've reached this age and now they're going to go to Hajj and be called a Hajji, and so this should not be, of course, our intention. And obviously some people, they want to show they're religious, so take some selfies while I'm doing, I mean, like, people can have different intentions. We shouldn't judge someone's intention while they're doing a selfie, but in general we need to be very careful from contaminating our Hajj, putting any type of showing off in it or something like that. The second point is that when a person wants to go to Hajj, they should prepare themselves very well, especially internally. All right, now anyone who's gone to Hajj knows, especially coming from Australia or any other Western country or any country, that you need to take provisions that you don't take to normal journeys. It takes you maybe weeks to actually think of everything you need to take, because you need to be highly organized for any type of scenarios that can come up, right? But more importantly than anything, and that's why Allah says, وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ زَادَ التَّقْوَى, right? He says, take your provision, but the best provision you can take is a taqwa. That's the most important thing. So preparing yourself internally is even more important than all of these provisions you're putting together for Hajj, right? So most importantly is to make sincere tawbah. Like, it's a time of reflection. Like we spoke about before Ramadan, where that's a time of reflection. Start to really analyze yourself, look at the way you're going in life, reflect on your inner state, your outer state, you know what I'm trying to say? Reflect on everything, and try to make a lot of tawbah as much as you can. Ask Allah Ta'ala to forgive you. You really want this Hajj to be accepted, so you need to come to Allah with as much as possible that humble and purified heart, and try to give up any sins from now. Like, if there's sins that you need to give up, you try to give them up now. You try to rectify yourself now before you go to Hajj, because otherwise, imagine that you didn't try to do that and you're going to go to Hajj and you're going to keep on doing those sins while you're in Hajj, and then that could affect your Hajj, could affect your reward for Hajj. It won't affect your Hajj being accepted, like your fard, but what reward are you going to get for your Hajj? That's the thing. We want the ultimate reward from our Hajj, right? Okay, so and also obviously, for example, maybe you're complacent with your prayers, you're lazy with your prayers, you don't pray your prayers on time. Those are the things you want to really be trying to fix from now, so that when you're in Hajj, subhanAllah, you've got yourself trained to be, at your peak, inshallah. That's what you're aiming for. Now, part of this tawbah, which is very important, is to fix any injustices that you have, perpetrated against others. So whether that's family members, if you know that you have exceeded if you've transgressed into someone else's rights, whether it's a family member, whether it's another sister or brother, Muslim sister or brother, you need to rectify that. You need to try to rectify that before you go. You don't want to be leaving You don't want to be leaving to go to Hajj while you're in a state of having oppressed someone. All right, that's the last thing you want to do. You want your dua answered in, like we know that the dua of the oppressed is answered. And the last thing you want to be doing is going to Hajj and somebody is making dua against you, for example. SubhanAllah. So you know, like I said, if you know that you've done something wrong, try to ask forgiveness from that person. You know, try to make amends. If you owe people money, go and give them back the money. You know, repay your debts. Try to, you know, the best advice I can give anyone going to Hajj, the way you would think, if someone told you you're going to die on a certain day, if you knew your date of death, how would you prepare for that day? You would try to rectify everything. You know what I mean? You'd be thinking about, wait, do I owe this person money? What do I need to give back? You understand? Do I need to ask someone for forgiveness? So the same thing. You should try to make amends for things in your life. Even that's why it's recommended to make a will before you go. Like if you've got anything, like if you've got outstanding days from Ramadan, you haven't fasted, for example, you need to tell somebody about that, because if you passed away, people need to know, to do that on your behalf. All right? Or anything you owe, like if you owe someone a debt and no one knows about it, you need to write that down. You need someone know that you owe this, or do you understand? So it's very important to basically make amends for anything. The third point is that you need to purify your wealth, like the wealth that you're using to go to Hajj, that you're going to spend on your Hajj. You want it to have been earned in a pure and halal way, because using money to go for Hajj that was earned, in a haram method or haram means, SubhanAllah, that could cause a person's Hajj not to be accepted. Because what does the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us? Inna Allah ta'ala tayyibun la yaqbalu illa tayyiba. Verily Allah ta'ala is tayyib, and He only loves the pure and good. Allah only loves and accepts the pure and the good. He does not accept, the khabith, the impure and the, you understand? He does not accept the impure. So imagine, may Allah protect us, some people, they earn their money maybe through, may Allah protect us, you've got people now that may earn their money through selling drugs, and then they go to spend it on their Hajj, or cheating, or stealing. They steal. Some people, they sell phone cards or something. There's all different ways that people ultimately make money, or they sell haram, like they sell cigarettes and then they go to Hajj, or they work in a haram industry, like they work in a riba-based industry, like they work in a bank, and then they're going to spend that money they earned on their Hajj. So this is, you have to be careful. We want everything about our Hajj to be pure and good, so that Allah Ta'ala accepts it from us. And there is a narration mentioned, there's a report mentioned in a hadith in the Tabarani, that when a person leaves for Hajj with pure provision and places his foot in the stirrup of his mount and says, Labbaik, Allahumma labbaik, here I am at your service, Ya Allah, a voice calls out from the heavens and says, Labbaik wa sa'daik, may your call be responded to, and happiness be your reward. And your rizq is halal, and your sustenance is halal, and your Hajj is accepted. But if a person leaves for Hajj with provision that's not halal, and then he places his foot in the stirrup of his mount and says, Labbaik, a voice calls out from the heavens saying, La labbaik wa la sa'daik, may your call not be responded to, and happiness not be your reward. Your rizq is haram, your sustenance is haram, and your Hajj is not accepted. SubhanAllah. So we just need to be very fearful from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are, we need to make sure that what we're going to Hajj with is actually earned in a halal manner. It's very important. So this is the main thing that I wanted to stress in this point. And then we come to the next point, which is the main thing you need to make sure, if you want your Hajj to be accepted as well, is to make sure you learn how to perform al-Hajj correctly. Right? As much as possible, try to learn how to perform Hajj according to the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because if you imagine if you went and you didn't know how to perform properly, and maybe the people you're going with, they might start doing some acts of shirk, and then you follow them in that, and or acts of innovations, and this could affect, subhanAllah, your Hajj being accepted. And the Messenger of Allah said, "Khudhu anni manasikakum," like take from me your rituals, take from me your rites. You have to try to, you need to implement or follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ in his Hajj, and not do innovated actions, and especially not actions of shirk. You might do them following somebody, you know what I mean? So and the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man amila amalan laysa alayna amruna fahuwa rad." Whoever does an action that's not from this affair of ours, that it will be rejected. So that's why it is important, to educate yourself before going to Hajj. Like listen to some authentic, lectures on how to perform Hajj. Go to your Hajj seminar, and very importantly as well, actually, is to choose a good group that that they are careful in following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. They're not going to start, for example, going to the grave of the Messenger of Allah, turning towards it and making dua to the Messenger of Allah, things like that. I saw that. Like when I went for Umrah, of course they weren't they weren't Sunnis that were doing this, but they went and they were facing, they were all turning and making dua and protect us to, to the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Subhanallah. So, a lot of people when they go to Hajj, they just look for the group that has the 5-star hotel, the 5-star food. But you want to go with a group that is going to be following the sunnah. That's more important than anything. There's nothing wrong with looking for the comfort, nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, don't choose that over a group that is going to be following the sunnah, and you're going with a group, they're going to be doing all these wrong actions. Like for example, if you go with some groups, you're going to find that there's mixing between men and women, and a lot of people in the group are smoking, and women sitting and gossiping and backbiting and wasting time, and as if they're not even going for Hajj, subhanAllah. But maybe they even listen to music, Allahu Alam, like people doing all kinds of things in Hajj. And so you want to try to pick the best company as much as possible. I mean, sometimes you can't tell, but in general, if you're going with a good Hajj group, you'll find the leader will be careful. He'll be telling people, no, sorry brother, no, sorry sister, this is Hajj, and reminding them. But some groups, I'm sorry, but not every group is going there because they sometimes it's just about the money. It becomes more like a tourism. So, people going just like, the Hajj group is just going like tourism, make some money, and taking these people like as if they're going, and the people themselves are going like tourists, rather than going for the intention of actual Hajj. So, so the main thing is to try to look for that group that is reminding you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and trying to help you to, reminding you to stay patient, and helping you to stay away from falling into forbidden actions and things like that. That's what you're aiming for. The next point also, it's something I did kind of mention before, but it's, just as you need to prepare yourself physically for Hajj, right? You need to prepare yourself, and it's very recommended to do a lot of walking before you go to Hajj. Try to, especially if you're not a person who normally works out. If you don't normally work out, and unfortunately this is the case for a lot of sisters in particular, that as we get older, we tend to not look after our physical health, which is not recommended. We should all the time be looking after our physical health, but that we do tend to do that. And especially got kids and stuff like that, sometimes it's difficult to keep up the, the physical activity. But realize that if you're going from not being physically active hardly at all to going to Hajj, you're going to get a big shock. Your body is going to be in a big shock because you're going to be doing a lot of walking, and it's going to be very difficult for you. So that's why it's very recommended that in the weeks, leading up to Hajj, that you've been trying to walk every day, if not half an hour, even 1 hour. Try to walk every single day. Get your body used to physical activity. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. But in saying that, just as you need to prepare yourself physically and you take all the things you're going to be packing, but the most important thing is to prepare your heart. That is the most important thing, because that's what's going to help you to get the Hajj al-Mabrur, right? So we need to realize, sisters, that the action of Hajj, it's an act of worship in which a person this is going to teach you how to have true ubudiyah to Allah. Al-ubudiyah means true servitude, true submission to Allah Ta'ala, where you say, Sami'na wa ata'na. I hear and I obey. And this is a problem a lot of people have in this day and age. A lot of people are no longer able to say Sami'na wa ata'na when they hear the commands of Allah and His Messenger. But why? But I think this, but I feel like that. You know, it's all about emotions and it's all about what I feel, and that doesn't suit my lifestyle. Okay, that's how people, a lot of people are like that now. But Hajj is going to teach you how to have this ubudiyah for your life. Because there's going to be a lot of things you're going to be doing in Hajj that you might not have an explanation for it. But you do it because it's the sunnah and because this is how you get your Hajj accepted. Okay, so that's why, like I'm saying, you're going to learn how to surrender to Allah Ta'ala truly, and this is how you need to take this lesson for your life. That this is how you should be, this is how you should be after Hajj, this is how you should be approaching your deen from now on. Just like in Hajj, you're doing certain things, certain actions, you didn't understand why, what is the wisdom behind that, you didn't say why, you did it because you know it's part of Hajj. Now you do this for your life too. Allah tells you this in the Quran, the Messenger of Allah tells you that, or don't do that, you say Sami'na wa ata'na, even if you don't understand the wisdom behind it. Okay, and this is why we see, for example, that Umar radiallahu anhu, when he kissed the black stone, he said, Wallahi, I know that you are a stone and you can't bring neither harm nor benefit. And if I had not seen the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam kiss you, I would never have kissed you, subhanAllah. So this is, an example of certain actions that we do. Of course, most likely none of us will have the chance, as women especially, to kiss the black stone in Hajj, unless Allah opens a miracle for us in general. But I'm just telling you that there are a lot of things you're going to be doing in Hajj that you have to learn to surrender, and you have to learn to even follow the leader, because your Hajj leader is going to tell you, all right, we need to do this now, and you need to listen to that, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in a bit of a mess, basically. So no arguing in Hajj. You can't be arguing, you just need to follow, and don't ask why. Why is the plane late? Why are we waiting 8 hours in the airport? You better start learning that you can't always question everything. And that's very hard for a lot of us, okay? So Hajj is going to teach you how to have full submission and also how to surrender to Allah's qada'i wal qadar. That's another big lesson we all need. How do we surrender to what Allah has written and decreed for us? Because in Hajj, we make all these preparations, but there are going to be things that are going to be out of our control. Things are going to happen that we didn't plan for, and we have to learn to have the patience, because we want the Hajj al-Mabrur, and part of that is not losing our temper and starting to argue with others, and that's gonna ruin our reward. Okay, it's gonna lessen our reward if we do that. Okay, so what you need to learn to be like is basically like a leaf on a stream. You just go with the flow. You can't fight. Just khalas. This is what Allah's written for me in this Hajj. I just have to go with it. And when you learn this lesson in Hajj, alhamdulillah, that's from the ni'mah of Allah, you'll be able to then apply that to your life when you come back. Because this Hajj is like a huge lesson in resilience and a huge lesson in our approach to life and how we need to be, approaching what Allah's, from His qadar, what He's predestined for us, subhanAllah. Another point also, if we want our Hajj to be accepted, we need to realize that, as I said before, that from the best of provisions we need to take with us is the taqwa of Allah. وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ زَادِ التَّقْوَى. Take your provisions, but the best provision that you're going to take is at-taqwa, is the bewaring of Allah, knowing Allah is watching you at all times, and subhanAllah, Allah is as-sami', He can hear everything that you're uttering with your tongue, and He's watching you, subhanAllah, He's watching your patience, He's watching your dealing with others in al-Hajj. So, and Allah Ta'ala tells us, فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. Do not do a rafath, do not, utter obscenities in al-Hajj, and do not commit sins in al-Hajj, and do not argue in al-Hajj. Okay, because these are things that's going to reduce the reward. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, as I mentioned earlier in the hadith, من حج فلم يرفث ولم يفسق رجع من ذنوبه كيوم ولدته أمه. That whoever goes for Hajj and doesn't utter obscenities or commit obscenities and doesn't do sins, he returns like he leaves his sins just like the day his mother gave birth to him. And that's a hadith in al-Bukhari and Muslim. So we need to be careful from saying any type of words from obscenities, like obviously like swearing, backbiting, namima. You want to be away from that. You want to be careful not to do any action also that brings the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us in Hajj. That's the last thing you want, right? And one of the sad things you'll find when you go to Hajj, you're going to see how people, they might be still in the state of ihram and yet they're still doing all these sins. They might be still like listening to music or smoking or, one's delaying their prayers or missing their prayers, things like this, or wasting time laughing and I'm not saying you can't laugh. It's not like you can't laugh, right? But I'm just saying like where people just spend the whole day maybe playing games or just talking about love. Like, just useless speech the whole day, not remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not making the most of this precious time. So you need to realize that no one is more deprived than the one who they gave up all that wealth. You gave that wealth for the sake of Allah, and then, and even you put your life on hold to go to Hajj, and then you come back having committed, forbidden actions that maybe, subhanAllah, either, your Hajj was reduced or maybe Allahu Alam, we don't know. Maybe the Hajj wasn't, you might come back with sins instead of coming back purified from your sins. SubhanAllah, that's the last thing you want to have. So you need to be very careful not to say or do any actions that can spoil your Hajj. And I just want to go through the ayah. So things that spoil the Hajj that's mentioned in this verse, فَلَا رَفَثَ, it's mentioned like obviously, sexual intercourse when someone's in major ihram, it completely nullifies the Hajj, right? At certain places in al-ihram. And also we should be careful from, when you're in the major state of ihram, you need to be careful from even saying words that lead to of a sexual nature, let's say, like of an intimate nature. This should be avoided even between, obviously a husband and wife. They should be careful not to speak like that in the state of major ihram. It needs to be avoided. But besides that, even committing, even like unfortunately, what you see in Hajj where, like some people are in ihram and they're trying to touch women inappropriately and things like that. That's rafath. When they try, yes, of course. Of course, and when you're doing tawaf, you have to be careful. You should always. That's why I never recommend any woman to go to Hajj without her mahram, because you could be doing tawaf and someone can, like people are stuck to you, and you can have a man and you can't get away from him. May Allah protect us. It's very horrible. So you need to have your mahram behind you, protecting you from anyone coming next to you and trying to touch you inappropriately, because in that crowd you can't always even get away from them. That's disgusting. But I have to warn you about it. It's a reality. Not everybody's there with the pure intention for Allah. Let's just say it like that. So, and even, women and men maybe flirting or something, not like, trust me, sisters, not everybody's there. Not everybody's there with the pure intention. Just to say it like that. It's hard as it is to believe for anyone who's innocent of heart. Not everybody's there with that innocent intention. Then besides that, al-jidal. Be careful from arguing. Be very, very careful from arguing. This can reduce your reward. And what is al-jidal? Okay, one of the tabi'een, Ata, he said, al-jidal is that you dispute with your companion until you make him angry or he makes you angry. So you have to be careful, and trust me, Allah is going to test you in this. He's going to test us all. May Allah give us the patience, because there's always going to be that person that's going to touch your triggers. There always has to be that person that, they're going to tread on your triggers. It's going to be difficult for you to remain patient, but you just have to keep on reminding yourself that you're trying to reach a sabrun jameel, the beautiful patience for the sake of Allah. Even maybe if you're going with your husband, you know husbands, they know how to push all your triggers. Your kids, whoever you're going with, they can be the ones that trigger you the most sometimes. So realize, you're going to have this inconsiderate woman that you're sharing a tent with, and she wants to put the air conditioner on full, and you're dying of like pneumonia. You know what I mean? There's always going to be someone who's going to be totally inconsiderate, like someone fighting over the charger. I want to charge my phone. Someone wants to charge their phone all day, doesn't want anyone else to charge their phone. There's always going to be someone inconsiderate in Hajj, trust me. May Allah protect us and give us patience. So you've got to keep on reminding yourself that, that this is all part of the test of Hajj, and to be very careful not to do anything, like, as I said, to argue or anything that can ruin or lessen your reward. Don't retaliate. If someone does something to you, don't retaliate. They push you, don't push them back. Okay, sisters, they push you, don't push them back. They swear at you, don't swear back. You have to remember that in Hajj, there's so many people from all around the world. They've got different lifestyles, different cultures. What might seem appropriate to them, that they can push you out of the line when you're waiting for half an hour to go to the toilet, and someone just pushes you out of the line and says, I'm here. You just have to realize, seek your reward. Plus, if you're being tested like that, remember that you're going to get more ajr with Allah. You're going to get, nothing's wasted with Allah. Nothing is wasted with Allah. Allah can see what they're doing. You have Allah with you. Allah sees. Even say that to them. Allah sees. وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا. That's a good one. I'll say that, inshallah. وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا يَا أُخْتِي. Enough is Allah as a witness, ya ukhti, my sister, if she does that to you. You don't have to say anything. And just say that. That will be enough, inshallah, to make you feel patient, inshallah. Okay, and so lastly, the last thing I want to mention is that what you need to concentrate in order to get that accepted Hajj is to fill your Hajj as much as possible with every word and action that Allah Ta'ala loves and is pleased with. So do not waste your time. Do not waste your precious time. So from this, let me mention a few things. Number one, try to beautify yourself with your akhlaq. As much as possible, try to adorn yourself with the best akhlaq that you can, smiling with your sisters, treating everyone, try to be considerate, try to look for the reward, because everything you do for your fellow Hujjaj, you're going to get rewarded for it. So look at it like a cans, look at it like a treasure chest of chances to get rewarded, by you serving or helping or doing anything to help your sisters in their Hajj and having the best manners. In fact, it's narrated from Jabir ibn Abdullah, the companion said to the Prophet ﷺ, what makes the Hajj mabrur? What makes the Hajj accepted, Ya Rasulullah? So he said, providing food to people and spreading the greeting of as-salam. So even giving as-salamu alaykum, being kind to others, things like this. And try in general not to let anyone hear any words from you that harms them or makes them feel upset or, have bad feelings. Like if you feel like you accidentally push someone, go to them, I'm really sorry, sister. Treat everybody like they're fragile. You know what I'm trying to say? Fragile in emotions and fragile in physically. So just, sister, are you okay? I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to offend you by saying that. Try your best to be as gentle on everyone as you can. The Salaf used to pay the greatest attention to these points. For example, Ibrahim bin Adham, he used to advise those traveling with him that he would be the one to serve them. Like he wants to have the reward of serving the Hujjaj. Mujahid, when he went with Ibn Umar, he said he used to serve us before we could serve him. So they would race for the deeds to serve each other. And having that high manners and that humility, right? This is the way that they used to be dealing with each other. Also keep in mind the words of the Prophet ﷺ when he went to Arafah and when they left Al-Arafah to Al-Muzdalifah, he told them, what did he tell them? He told them, calm down, and he said, calm down, for verily al-bir, righteousness, al-bir, will not be gained through neglecting good. So you might think you're getting ahead by pushing or something like that, but you're not going to get it by pushing people, and that's not going to help. Like people who want to go touch the black stone, and they think by pushing everybody and half strangling people, to get to the black stone, that's not al-bir. That's not al-bir to do that. What would be the use of kissing the black stone or touching it, and what have you done to achieve that, right? Okay, so the other thing, very important, is take your mushaf with you, recite as much Quran as you can, do lots of dhikr. Like if you need to get something to help you do the dhikr, like they have those counters, because sometimes you do it on your fingers but you lose count, so you could get one of those counters. Or whatever you have that you can do, count your dhikr on it, just to encourage you to do as much dhikr as you can. Doing a lot of istighfar as well. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. But obviously one of the most important du'as which we're saying is labaik, Allahumma labaik, labaik la sharika laka labaik, like saying that du'a, and also saying the talbiyah, and also the Prophet ﷺ, he was asked which Hajj is best. Which Hajj is best? So he said the one in which there is the most dhikr, the most remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal. So you want to be remembering Allah as much as you can, with your tongue and with your heart, as much as you can. And of course, from that dhikr also is your dua, making dua as much as you can. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but please stop him for a second. Also, even included in this is al-amr bil ma'ruf wal nahy anil munkar as well, right? So, if you see someone doing something, like gently advising them, that's not from the sunnah, my dear sister. Try to advise them, try to teach others, the right thing, or, encourage them towards the good deeds. Try to guide people to the good. You'll be rewarded for whoever you guide. It's mentioned that, one of the righteous Salaf said that I made Hajj with Sufyan, and his tongue hardly ceased from enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. So this is what we should be doing. If we're not making dhikr of Allah, we're saying the good to our sisters. We're trying to, encourage them, remind them, and those things, right? And also, like I was saying before, about a dua. So especially in Al-Hajj, we need to concentrate on a dua. And there are certain places, like when you're doing al-tawaf, that's when you want to be doing a lot of dua. That's not the time for reciting the Quran. It's the time for dua, not for Quran, right? Sometimes reciting Quran is of greater virtue, but this is one of the times where dua is of greater virtue even than reciting Quran. So you're doing much dua as you can. Yawm al-Arafah as well, that's the day for dua. And the Messenger of Allah said, afdal dua Yawm al-Arafah. The best dua is dua Yawm al-Arafah. That's the best dua. And it's the time when the dua is accepted. The dua is accepted on the day of Arafah. And it's mentioned that in a hadith in Sahih al-Jami', the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the one who makes Hajj and Umrah, the ones who make Hajj and Umrah, that they are the guests of Allah. He called them. SubhanAllah, Allah calls a person to Hajj. Like you think that you made the plans, but Allah is actually calling you, SubhanAllah. And so they answered. Allah called them and they answered the call of Allah. They ask from Him and He gives them. So when they ask from Him, He gives them. That's from SubhanAllah, Allah's generosity. So lastly, the last thing I want to speak about today before we finish is what are the signs of an accepted Hajj? What are the signs of an accepted Hajj that when you see these signs, when you come back, you can say, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, that my Hajj was from, I got the Hajj al-Mabrur, I got the accepted Hajj. So one of them is you see al-istiqamah, you see yourself steadfast on doing righteous deeds, that you feel there's a change, like we speak about when we talk about Ramadan, that after Hajj you feel a difference in yourself. You're more steadfast on righteous deeds and staying away from sins than you were before you went for Hajj. Also, if you find yourself that you find your heart is not attached to the things of dunya like it was before. You start to see the dunya in its true perspective, right? You no longer got that strong attachment to dunya. Rather, you find yourself, your heart is really longing for Allah and the akhirah, and that you want to strive for Allah and the akhirah from now on. And Al-Hasan al-Basri, rahimahullah, he said that the Hajj al-Mabrur, the accepted Hajj, is to return having zuhud from this dunya. and hoping and longing for the akhirah. That's one of the signs. That's how Hajj should really shake you and change you. So I'll leave it there, my dearest sisters. I ask Allah Ta'ala for everybody around the world going for Hajj this year, that Allah Ta'ala rewards them with Al-Hajj al-Mabrur, gives them patience in Hajj, makes them from those who remember Allah Ta'ala greatly and accepts their tawbah, and that Allah accepts their tawbah from every person, especially on the day of Arafah. And for those not going this year, I ask Allah Ta'ala to bless every single Muslim with the chance to go for Al-Hajj and to experience the mercy of Allah Ta'ala, especially on the day of Arafah, inshallah. وَأَقُولُ قَوْلِي هَذَا وَأَسْتَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لِي وَلَكُمْ وَسُبْحَانَكَ اللَّهُمَّ وَبِحَمْدِكَ نَشْهَدُ أَن لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنْتَ نَسْتَغْفِرُكَ وَنَتُوبُ إِلَيْكَ.